Okay, everyone. Welcome to the lecture on chapter 12 and 13. And in today's video, we're going to look into micronutrients, specifically vitamins and minerals. And we're going to talk about how they play a crucial role in maintaining our health. We're also going to discuss dietary supplements, how you use them, and if they have any potential risks. And then we'll finish up by talking about the relationship between our diet and cancer. So let's get into learning objective one. The first learning objective is to examine the differences between vitamins and minerals. Start by understanding what those are and how they differ from one another. So, micronutrients is a general term that we use to describe vitamins and minerals, and of course, they are essential for our bodies, but they are needed in much smaller quantities compared to macronutrients like carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And although they don't provide energy directly, they are going to play vital roles in various biochemical processes. So let's start with vitamins. Vitamins are organic compounds, and when we describe something as organic, it means that they contain carbon and are usually derived from living things. Minerals, on the other hand, are inorganic elements. They come from the earth. They cannot be synthesized by living organisms. And since our bodies cannot produce most of these micronutrients, we have to obtain them through our diets. So let's talk about some general functions. They're going to serve a whole bunch of them, as you can see listed on this informational pictograph. Those include supporting metabolism, supporting immune function, maintenance of healthy tissues. They act as coenzymes, cofactors. They enable biochemical reactions that are going to be essential for life. And there's a lot of them that I didn't talk about here that are listed up on the screen. So let's get a little bit more into the specifics. So first, let's talk about vitamins. Vitamins are different based on their solubility, which basically means are they soluble in your fat or not? And if they are, we call them fat-soluble vitamins. Those include vitamins A, D, E, and K. And of course, that means that they dissolve in fats and oils and are thus able to be stored in the adipose tissue. Now, on the other hand, water-soluble vitamins, including the B vitamins like B1, 2, 3, etc., and vitamin C, they dissolve in water, and so they are not able to be stored in the body to any significant extent. Vitamins can come from different sources, our diet, dietary supplements, and in some cases, our bodies even produce them. For example, our skin can synthesize vitamin D when it's exposed to ultraviolet radiation and from the sunlight. So when it comes to absorption, fat-soluble vitamins, like I said, are absorbed along with the dietary fats in the small intestine. And that requires bile and it requires various enzymes. But once absorbed, those vitamins get transported through the lymphatic system and the bloodstream by chylomicrons, which remember are a type of lipoprotein. Fat-soluble vitamins are stored in the liver and the adipose tissue, which is why they aren't easily excreted and can even build up to toxic levels if consumed in excess. Water-soluble vitamins, however, are excreted more readily, and so you'll need to consume them regularly to prevent deficiencies. There are some exceptions to this rule, including vitamins B12 and B6, which do have a little bit of storage capability. Let's talk about toxicity. Remember that toxicity is more likely to occur with those fat-soluble vitamins because they can accumulate in your body over time. And so it's essential to monitor your intake, particularly if you're taking supplements so that you avoid harmful levels. Now, where might you find these vitamins in various foods? And they're listed on the screen, but they're going to be various food sources. And that's why it's important to have a varied diet. So you can find fruit vitamins, vitamins in vegetables, in meats, and dairy products. And so, again, a well-balanced diet will provide you with most of the vitamins that your body needs. How can we preserve the vitamins in fruits and vegetables? So, water-soluble vitamins, for example, like vitamin C and the B vitamins, are particularly susceptible to destruction from heat, light, air, and any alkaline substances, the opposite of acidic substances. So, in order to preserve those vitamins, you want to make sure that you refrigerate your fruits and vegetables and make sure that they are not drying out, so increase their humidity. Avoid trimming, peeling, or cutting them until right before you use them. Opt for cooking methods like steaming or stir frying or sauteing or even microwaving so that you minimize cooking time. And avoid adding baking soda, which is alkaline, because it can also destroy certain vitamins. Okay, let's talk about minerals. Minerals, again, are inorganic essential micronutrients that have to be obtained from the diet since our bodies cannot synthesize them. There are two kinds of minerals. We call them major or trace or minor minerals. So the major minerals are going to include sodium, potassium, chloride, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, and sulfur. And we're typically going to need those in larger quantities, like 100 milligrams or more per day. Now, the trace or the minor minerals are needed in much smaller amounts, but those include iron, zinc, copper, selenium, manganese, and iodine. Okay, where might we find the minerals? So they can be found as well in a variety of foods, meats, dairy, nuts, vegetables, and the content of the minerals can vary depending on the soil in which those plants are grown or the diet of the animals. Because remember, these m- organic animals and plant bodies that you're eating can't produce them on their own. They needed to have gotten them from their environment. So, how does the body absorb minerals? It depends on the body's immediate need for them, as well as the bioavailability in whatever you are eating. So, let's see. Talking about competition, that means that different minerals will compete for absorption in the digestive system. So you want to be careful to not eat, for example, a lot of leafy greens, which has oxalic acid that can bind to certain minerals like calcium, which reduces calcium's absorption. Vitamin C, however, will enhance iron absorption if taken in the same meal. Vitamin D will improve calcium and phosphorus absorption. And also, stomach acidity will play a role in solubility and absorption of some minerals. Okay, moving on to learning objective 2, which is to identify the relationship between coenzymes, cofactors, and the activities of enzymes. First of all, what are enzymes? Enzymes are what we call biological catalysts. A catalyst is something that speeds up a chemical reaction in the body. Now, they are highly specific. In fact, we often refer to a lock and key model, where much like a key will only fit into a specific lock, one enzyme will only work with its particular what we call substrate. Many enzymes are going to also require the help of something called a cofactor in order to function properly. Cofactors can either be inorganic ions or they can be organic molecules, which we might then call coenzymes. Coenzymes are often derived from vitamins, and like I said, they're super essential so that the enzyme itself can function properly. So, are they important? Yes. Cofactors and coenzymes are often crucial just to maintain the proper functioning of enzymes. And without them, many of the body's metabolic processes would not occur efficiently or occur at all. Okay, moving on to learning objective 3. The third learning objective is to identify the major food sources, functions, and deficiency symptoms, and including toxicity symptoms of the given micronutrients. Okay, let's talk about B vitamins. B vitamins are a group of water-soluble vitamins that play vital roles as coenzymes in energy metabolism and amino acid metabolism. So let's look a little bit closer at the particular B vitamins as we move along. Okay, thiamine or vitamin B1 you can find in food like pork, legumes, whole grains, and cereals. A deficiency in thiamine can lead to a condition called beriberi, And that's going to affect the nervous system, the cardiovascular system. Uh, but on the other hand, toxicity is not really known to occur. And so, really, the only thing to worry about is a deficiency. Moving on to riboflavin, which is vitamin B2. It's abundant in dairy products, eggs, liver, and leafy greens. If you've got a deficiency, it can cause inflammation of the mouth and the tongue. You can get cracks at the corners of the mouth. But just again, there's no known toxicity associated with riboflavin, but it is worth noting that it is sensitive to light, which is why milk is often sold in containers that are opaque. Okay, vitamin B3, niacin, you can find in food sources like meats, fish, poultry, and even in enriched grains. If you have a deficiency in vitamin B3, that's going to lead to pellagra, which is characterized by dermatitis, diarrhea, and even dementia. Excessive intake, usually supplements, which usually through supplements can cause the flushing of the skin, so like a redness of the skin. Peroxidine, vitamin B6, can be found in animal proteins, potatoes, spinach, bananas, avocados. If you've got a deficiency, it might again cause dermatitis, anemia, even convulsions, confusion, and depression. Toxicity from supplements can result in skin lesions and even irreversible nerve damage. So you want to really be careful about vitamin B6. Folate is a substance that is found in leafy green vegetables, but also liver and legumes. And deficiency can lead to anemia and even neural tube defects during pregnancy. And while there's no known toxicity from food sources, high doses of folic acid supplements can sometimes mask a vitamin B12 deficiency. So it's important not to, again, overdo it on the vitamin B12. What is vitamin B12? Well, that's cobalamin, and you might find it in animal foods and some of the fortified cereals we've been talking about. If you've got a deficiency, it can cause pernicious anemia and neurological issues. And often it's vegans that are at a higher risk for vitamin B12 deficiency since it's primarily found in animal products. There is no known toxicity, and the liver can actually store B12 for long periods. Okay, let's talk about pantothenic acid. Pantothenic acid is a widely distributed molecule in foods like meat, milk, and vegetables, so deficiency is rare, but if you are deficient, it can cause weakness and fatigue and even some gastrointestinal issues, and there is no known toxicity. Biotin. Biotin you'll find available in many foods like grains, egg yolks, and nuts. Deficiency is often rare, but if so, it would cause dermatitis or conjunctivitis, hair loss, and nervous system abnormalities, and there's really no known toxicity. Choline is a vitamin-like substance that you'll find in eggs, meat, fish, and milk. It serves as a precursor for something called acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter. So while there's no known deficiency disease, lab-induced deficiency can occur, and toxicity from excess intake can cause a sort of fishy body odor and low blood pressure. Okay, moving on to learning objective 4. It is to identify the major food sources, functions, deficiency symptoms, and even toxicity symptoms, as well as the chemical symbols of specific micronutrients. Okay, let's move on to talking about iodine. Iodine is a trace mineral, but it is essential for thyroid hormone synthesis. So you'll find it in things like iodized salt, fish that lived in salt water, and even seaweed. Deficiency can lead to goiter or cretinism, and toxicity can inhibit your thyroid functioning. The chemical symbol for iodine is simply an I, capital I. This is what iodine deficiency might result in. It is a significant global health issue, particularly in regions where iodized salt is not commonly used. So you can see sort of an enlarged thyroid and some growth issues. Chromium is another trace mineral symbolized by capital C, lowercase r. It enhances insulin action and it aids, therefore, in blood glucose regulation. You'll find it in foods like eggs, liver, whole grains, and nuts. If you have a deficiency, it would lead to glucose intolerance and nerve damage, but there is really no toxicity issue. Manganese. Manganese is symbolized by Mn, capital N, lowercase n. Functions as a cofactor in metabolism and antioxidant systems. It's found in foods like nuts, legumes, and leafy greens. Deficiency can result in poor growth and skeletal abnormalities, while toxicity might cause nervous system disorders like stiffness or tremors. Sulfur is a major mineral. It's important for stabilizing protein structures, maintaining acid-base balance, and you'll find it in protein foods since sulfur is often part of amino acids. There's really no known deficiency or toxicity symptoms related to sulfur. Okay, moving on to learning objective 5. We'll look at the role, efficacy, and potential harms of some dietary supplements. First of all, what is a supplement? Well, a dietary supplement is any product intended to supplement the diet and contains one or more of the following vitamins, minerals, amino acids, or herbs. It's important to note that supplements are not closely regulated by the FDA except for something called folic acid. So you really do want to be careful that if you're taking a supplement that it's at least got some research invested into it and there may be some reviews and people talk about it, but also understand that these are often sold as having, large potential benefits where really no benefit is actually seen. This is because this is a big business. It's a massive industry with annual sales exceeding $60 billion in the USA alone. Again, like I said, a lot of the supplement companies will make claims about, oh, it'll improve your energy, it'll enhance your performance, it'll even reverse aging, but those often lack any solid scientific backing. Okay, the quality, purity, and consistency of dietary supplements are not closely monitored, and that means there could be some significant variation between products. So what you want to do is look for the USP, the US Pharmacopoeia designation, and that'll indicate if the supplement meets certain quality standards. And also remember that supplements could increase the risk of vitamin and mineral toxicities, especially if you're combining that with the already nutrient-rich diet. So always consult a healthcare provider before starting any supplement regimen. While supplements might be helpful in certain situations, like during pregnancy or in individuals that have specific deficiencies, they certainly cannot fully correct a nutritionally poor diet. A varied and balanced diet is the best way to meet your nutritional needs. If you do choose to take supplements, avoid exceeding the upper limits and consider both your diet and any fortified foods and drinks you consume if you're also going to add these supplements into your diet. Let's look at some indications of when supplements, some specific scenarios where they might be beneficial. So you might take iron if you suffer from excessive menstrual bleeding. You might take folic acid during pregnancy to prevent those neural tube defects. You might take B12, D, or calcium for if you're following a vegan diet. Newborns are given vitamin K right off the bat. Fluoride for children has been shown to increase healthy teeth growth. Vitamin D for those who might live in areas with limited sunlight exposure or even limited dairy intake. Vitamin D and calcium for those with lactose intolerance or a milk allergy. You might even have some specific medical conditions that are going to, lead your healthcare professional to advise you to take some particular supplement. So these are a great idea, but again, just make sure that you're taking a good supplement and you're also identifying where you might be interfering with your diet, your dietary intake. Here are some particular resources so that you can use for more information on supplements and nutrition. You can see what I've got listed here. The first one is the National Institutes of the Health Office of Dietary Supplements. Second one is the American Council on Science and Health. Third one is something called Quackwatch. The fourth is the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Fifth one is Consumer Lab. And the sixth one is something called the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health. All of these will give you information on supplements and help you make your best informed decisions. Finally, our last objective is to relate nutrients, diet, and cancer. So, first of all, what is cancer? Well, cancer is just essentially, very simply, when cells divide and multiply in an abnormal, uncontrolled way. This will lead to the formation of what we know as tumors. Tumors can be benign, which means that they are non-cancerous, or they can be malignant, meaning that they're cancerous and thus capable of spreading to other parts of the body. Cancers are thus classified based on the type of cell from which they generate. So, there are several factors that might increase the risk of cancer. And some of these, again, like we've said before, are things that you can control and some that you cannot. For example, genetics, a family history that plays a role in cancer risk is really not something you can control. Your environment is often sometimes not what you can control either. In some areas it is. Like if you live in an environment where you're getting an exposure to radiation or chemicals and pollutants, that can contribute to cancer. If you are using tobacco or alcohol, both are well-known carcinogens. If you have a lack of physical activity, it has been shown again and again that sedentary lifestyles increase the risks of cancer. And of course, diet. Certain dietary patterns are associated with either increase or even decrease cancer risks. And we've talked about some of those before. Let's talk about them again, though. What are some dietary factors associated with cancer? Well, to lower your risk of cancer, you might increase the intake of whole grains and fiber, dairy products, and plant-based foods. It's important to note that supplements have not been shown to reduce any kind of cancer risk. So it's really going to have to be your diet and your lifestyle. But what about increasing your risk? Well, if you have low fruit and vegetable intake, or you're intaking an excessive amount of calories leading to obesity, you're eating fried foods with trans fats, high consumption of red meats, processed foods, and particularly foods that are cooked at high temperatures, those are all going to increase the risks of cancer. So what can we do to avoid increasing our risks? Well, you can increase your intake of plant-based foods, make sure you're maintaining a healthy weight, consult with your doctor on what that is for you, engage in regular physical activity, limit your consumption of alcohol, processed foods that are high in fat and added sugars, reduce drinking sugary beverages, and also maintain a lower intake of red meats and processed foods in general. Okay, that was it. Thanks for joining me for this lecture. If you have any questions, let your instructor know. And remember, the best way to meet your nutritional needs is through your balanced diet, rich in a variety of foods. Be mindful of your supplement use and consult a healthcare professional when necessary. So, see you next time.